now.
Well, I don't know if I would make it that narrow.
On any fine.
It might make more sense to make a motion to edit the ARC rules to clarify that anything that is on a ballot is considered to be an acceptable political sign. I'm probably not getting the words correct, but that we acknowledged in the last meeting that clarification was needed.
If we want to jump to my sign thing, we can do it, but the proposal that I put out says 0 political signs, meaning none. There would be none that would be allowed. The only signs in the proposal that would put forward were real estate signs, congratulatory signs, contractor signs, no trespassing, garage sales. That's it. 0 political signs. The attorneys have vetted it. That is totally okay. We can do that if we want. I was just trying to make it easy, but it's up to this board to decide.
Well, let's try not to derail my motion. So I moved to clarify in the ARC rules. Does anybody want a second?
I second it.
Thank you, Tracy.
All right, Susan, can you specify what the exact motion is when you mean clarify? Like what section we're talking about, just because there are multiple sections and multiple lines in the ARC guidelines regarding signs.
Okay, the section 15C under signs. Sorry, I'm trying to look at it. I wasn't planning to do this. So in I-2, it says all campaign signs relating to public vote. It says 1 per lot per seat. I would add beyond 1 per lot per seat, the anything that is legally on a voting ballot, because the truth is this was written in a short-sighted manner. Really, when you look at appeal courts all the way up to the Supreme Court, they look at what the intent was when they write a law, and the intent clearly was to allow political signs. It was just badly worded. So even if we say yes to this one and Jimmy wants to make another motion later to get rid of political signs, that he can make that motion, but I personally think it makes more sense just to fix the problem. So the motion would be to add, anything that's on a ballot, and that makes sense. T-splost, referendums, that's always going to be the case, and you can't split the baby. If it's on a ballot, it's a sign that's valid.
I'll just make a statement. I'm putting these motions out here. I don't honestly care. Like, whatever the board wants to do, we just need to uphold our rules and make sure that we're consistent. So if the board votes and says we want all the political signs, great. Like, we just need to make a decision one way or the other. So I don't care what it is. We just need to decide.
Well, I think that Joe said it needed to be clarified, and I think that's what his intent was last month.
And Joe, what you got on this?
So, first of all, this doesn't fix the Lee Fleck fine problem. He still got a fine for asking for approval for something. It was denied. He did it anyway. It really has, at this point, nothing to do with the sign.
That's not the reason I made the motion.
Right. Okay. Good. Because I wanted to be clear. This doesn't fix what Lee was appealing. Okay.
We should never make motions and vote based on that kind of thing. So secondly, we voted on this at the very last meeting. What's the rule on that, Cliff? If we vote on something again the very next meeting, then it has to be 2/3. Is that kind of how it goes? I don't know. We didn't vote on this, Joe.
We did. We voted on allowing the boot the bond sign, which is essentially the same thing. If we allowed that, we would allow any referendum sign.
No, it's not the same thing.
Susan, hey guys, stop. This is not a bickering session. We are not talking over one another. We are all going to act like an adult. Everybody is going to be respectful of one another.
Raise my hands.
No, Susan, stop.
Apologizing.
No. This is not the way this works, guys. We are all adults here. Susan gets her time. Joe gets her time. Direct your stuff at me. Let's not talk to one another. I think that's some of the issue. Direct all of your comments at me. And that's the way that we can handle it. So that way we're not arguing across the table, so to speak. Everyone deserves the respect of being able to be heard and not cut off. That's where we get into problems. Let's just take a minute and let's be respectful of one another. We're cutting each other off. We're not helping each other. Susan, I would like to let you to finish. When you're done, then we can have Joe to finish. But let's not bicker.
Thank you. So what Joe was saying, just to clarify, we really did not vote on it. We voted on specifically on a boot the bond sign. What I'm talking about is a change to an ARC rule that goes well beyond a boot the bond sign. These are two totally different things. And thank you. I will yield the floor.
Joe, do you have anything else?
I have nothing else.
Paul.
In terms of this proposal, this motion, clarifying for political signs, I'm not sure it's going to achieve that unless our intention, as we said, the intention of a rule is if we're defining a political sign as being something that's currently on a ballot. If that is the case, obviously it should be stipulated a little bit stronger to say that for the community, a vote that involves members of this community, and is covered by our natural location, not somebody who has something and they don't live here, anything like that. We need to decide if we're going to cover that because we're trying to clarify it. The other part is that means that if something is not currently on a ballot, the way this motion is currently written, then that is not a permittable political sign, which means long-running statements are not currently on a ballot. They would still be banned. Is that if that's our intent? I'm just bringing it up. If that's our intention, then we can do it that way. If we intend to allow other aspects under this clause, then we need to identify those items, or we need to put this together and discuss it some other way.
Cliff?
Yes. I can't remember a more disorderly and chaotic board meeting in recent history, with people talking over each other and people being recognized speaking directly to each other. This is really out of order. We really need to get back to Robert's Rules of Order. That has always been the procedure by which we conduct board meetings. And I would say to this board that we have got to get back to it, or we can expect every board meeting to be a long, drawn-out bickering session like this one. The second thing that I wanted to state was it seems to keep getting confused. Mr. Fleck was not fined because he put a sign in his yard.